Welcome to the Wargaming.net Gold League, where the top 16 teams from around the North American region will be competing for a $100,000 prize pool. We are in week 3 right now, and I'm Joshua Clutch Grace. Take a look real quick at tonight's matches. First off, we have Game Over versus the Cunninghams, Simp versus Cazadores, Spurglords versus Refuse to Die, Hammer Time versus Top Tier, Googly Bobbers versus River of Blood, and Hashtag RU versus Pubstar. 6 matches tonight. Joining me on the desk is Randall Rukill Holcomb. Randall, these storylines are starting to develop for all these players and all these teams so far, and tonight we're going to see some people that are going to make it into the top 8. They're going to make it to the finals.
Yeah, Cunninghams has a chance to do it. Hashtag RU. Top teams in the Bravo bracket have a chance to secure their place, but there is a 3-way tie currently between Game Over, River of Blood, and Googly Bobbers in the Bravo bracket. I really want to see how that develops because this is the middle of that bracket where we're going to see tiebreakers. We're going to see them having to tiebreak and then cross over into the other brackets to fight the 4th and 5th places. It's not quite solid yet. I hope this week brings us, though, that a resolution to this problem, which is a huge way tie.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple ties that will happen and will break throughout the rest of the week. We may have a couple tiebreakers on Sunday. After the tiebreakers are determined, we'll go into our playoffs, where the 4th spot of Alpha will face the 5th spot of Bravo and vice versa, and that will determine the last 2 spots. So we will know the 6 teams by the end of Saturday night, and after that it comes down to the playoffs after the tiebreakers, of course.
Yes. But we do have a few teams who are guaranteed their spot. Fulcrum, for example, is a team who is, I'm 100%, I'm pretty sure at this point, guaranteed to make it to the finals.
Yeah, anyone that's pretty much has 5 wins under their belt. 1 match tonight, both teams are down 1 match and have 4 wins. It's Hammer Time versus Top Tier, so the winner will go on to the top 8. Now, how everything works out with the tiebreakers and the playoffs, there could be a couple upsets here and there later down the road. But when you do win, obviously when you get those league points, and you go to the top, that's what's going to determine the teams that make it into the finals. And we're playing in the 7x42 format, and Randall put together a segment detailing what is 7x42. Let's take a look.
Hey guys, it's Rukill, and I'm here to explain to you the 7x42 format. Many players that are unfamiliar with the World of Tanks competitive scene often ask, what is the 7x42 format? Each team is comprised of 7 players with a maximum of 42 tier points. Also, the highest tier allowed is tier 8.
Each tank is worth points equal to its tier.
While teams could bring less than 7 players, they would lose 1 point per missing player. So, it's not recommended. To help illustrate, a team could bring 2 IS-3s, 2 T-69s, a WZ-132, and 2 T-1 Cunninghams. They would, however, lose 1 of the T-1 Cunninghams if they played with 6 players. Once a lineup is set, the match begins and both teams fight for victory on any of the 8 maps in official play. Abbey, Cliff, Ensk, Himmelsdorf, Mines, Prohorovka, Ruinberg, and Steppes. That's the 7x42 format in a shell. So don't forget that with the 8.9 patch, you and 6 friends can give it your best shot.
And you can play the 7x42 format right now in team battles in the World of Tanks client. To see better the roadmap of where we are with the season, let's take a look at the season standings. First off, for the Alpha Division, Fulcrum with 15 league points, leading the charge. Hammer Time right behind him with 1 loss and 4 wins at 12 league points. Top Tier will be the team that Hammer Time faces tonight. The winner will pretty much be guaranteed a spot at the final. Simple Tankers right behind him with 9 league points. The second half of the bracket, we're going to get to the lower section here. Spurglords and Refuse to Die. They have a matchup tonight. Nerve at 3 league points. The No Limit with 0 and 6 losses. Nerve and No Limit out of the running, but still trying to fight out of the relegations. And what do you have for the Bravo Division?
For the Bravo Division, leading the way is Simp with 15 league points, 5 wins, 0 losses. Behind them is Hashtag RU with 9 league points. They can still tie it up with Simp if Simp is able to lose at all in their next few battles. Cunninghams, though, have 7 league points. That is because they won out in a shootout. They have 3 wins, 2 losses. Game Over with 6 league points, 2 wins, 2 losses, and actually a tie with Riverblood and Googly Bobbers, who are with 2 and 2 and 2 and 3. So 3 teams with 6 league points at the bottom are Cazadores and Pubstars. There's still a chance for them. Still a chance for Pubstars and Cazadores to very easily get themselves out of the relegation spot. Just one win, and chances are at least one of those 3 teams is going to have a rough time with their remaining matches, and so we could see them actually drop back down into the relegation places, into a tiebreaker spot at the bottom of the Bravo bracket.
Yeah, Cunninghams face an international team tonight and tomorrow night as well, back-to-back with the international side. We also want to invite everyone to please follow us on Twitter at WGLNA, at WGLNA. The website's WGLNA.com. And make sure to hit the follow button. Get my social media mixed up in my head. Make sure to hit the follow button in the corner. Once we reach 7,000 followers, we will give out a premium Tier 8 tank to a random follower. We're really close. We're at less than 200 now. So grab your friends, watch some tanks, hit that follow button, and we do appreciate your support. New website is up. WGLNA will redirect you to the new website. It's robust. Standings are up there as well. And you can get a clearer picture numbers-wise of who's leading the way when it comes to tank performance in the Gold League. And as always, Facebook.com/WGLNA. Our YouTube channel, YouTube.com/WGLNA, where more segments and VODs of the games are being uploaded day by day by day by day by day. So you can catch up to all the action as well. Also, question of the day. Today is, if you could put any gun on any tank, what would you put?
Pictures, please.
Yeah, send us pictures.
please.
Send us pictures. Your photoshopping skills will come in handy here. Any type of gun. Maybe one of the guns an IS-3 brings on.
I'm thinking KV-2 on a TOG.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's
what needs to happen.
That's a possibility. It's a possibility. TOG's a boat, so it can handle like another turret on the side.
It can handle 2 more turrets, I think.
Sure.
Maybe even 3. I don't know.
I'm sure. Good. We'll send in those tweets. If we like it, we'll show it on the broadcast. We'll also give you a code. Code's for 2,000 gold, 200,000 credits, I believe, and 7 days of premium. It's 2,100 gold, 200,000 credits, and 7 days of premium. There's an extra 100 they threw in there.
It's a big code.
We're going to take a quick break. We come back. Battle number 1 will begin between Game Over and the Cunninghams. Stay tuned. You're watching the Gold League for World of Tanks. Hey, it's Clutch, and it's time for the top 5 moments of Season 3, Week 2 of the Wargaming.net Gold League. At number 5, Refuse to Die brings an unconventional lineup against simple tankers. A Rumba, 3 Tiger 1s, a T1, and a Chaffee. Known as the Kitten Strat.
Wait, I think I know why this strat is why they brought tigers. It's a bag of kittens.
It didn't work so well for Refuse to Die. This time. At number 4, it's the top tier straight push on mines against simple tankers. At number 3, it's Googly Bopper's leader Spoon with the jukes as his teammates block and engage for the win. At number 2 is the World War II fanatic shot through cover to take out Protector of the Realm.
Oh, look at that shot right through cover.
And at number 1, the well-coordinated track shot from Soviet, saving his battle buddy, Nagatron. Tune in for more World of Tanks action live at the Wargaming.net Gold League.
And heck of a shot there, Clutch, right at the end.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Really good play coming from Fulcrum Gaming. The type of positional play these teams need to emulate and try to excel at, because a lot of tanks doesn't come down to just the tank lineup, but it's the position game as well and how you perform with those tanks. But these two teams are no strangers when it comes to performing well in tanks. We have Game Over versus the Cunninghams. Game Over fresh off their win for the Battle of South America, currently the belt winners, the champions of South America at this time. But don't worry, Cazadores will challenge them again, I'm sure. If not in the Gold League, then somewhere else. They're going to be up against Cunninghams. What's the story between these two teams right now?
Well, Cunninghams had some trouble. Have had some trouble. They lost against Simp. That really hurts. They've got a shootout win, but you've got right behind them, 1 point away, is Game Over. Game Over's been here in the league. They were here last season. They barely didn't make it last time. They lost out. There was a big tiebreaker between 3 teams, and then they lost out in that. The team that won went on to the tiebreakers and won, well, the crossovers, and then won there. So Game Over barely didn't get it into our finals last season. They really won it this season. They're in almost the same spot again, looking like a tie, middle of the bracket, not leading the way quite yet, but we could see them get there. But they really have to overcome the Cunninghams, which is a huge hurdle for game over.
This will be an uphill battle for them. And Cunninghams have been performing well. Some players are saying they did not have the growth that a team should have from Season 2 to Season 3. But we have to remember that there was one night they didn't have a Martin. He had to drop out of a couple games because of connection issues and whatnot. And that's been some problems here for some of these teams. No matter what happens throughout the season, what comes down to it is, do they make it to the finals? Yes, seeding matters. It does matter on where you're placed against who in the seeding, but that is the main story to be told. Who's going to make it? And Cunningham's still in a very strong run here against Game Over. And we have them ready for the face-off. Let's go ahead and talk to them ourselves face-to-face. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening, guys. Hey, Martin, you guys are in a really weird spot. You have 7 points. Now, a shootout win. What do you feel like that did to you guys as a team?
It gave me an excuse to shove the guys into more practices
And how much more practice is a lot more practice?
every day.
Every day? Can you give me an hours?
2.5
It's a lot.
a day.
Gigmaster, you guys practice that much?
No, not every day. Yeah, we've been practicing, but not every day.
That's just this week. After that, I got to because we got to practice after our game tonight.
Oh, yep.
You guys are going to practice after tonight's game?
No, not us. I got.
Okay,
we
okay.
got another one.
And Gigmaster, you guys are in a weird tie just below the Cunninghams with Riverblood and Googly Boppers. This is almost the same situation you guys were in last season. Do you think you could pull yourselves out of this?
Yeah, I hope so. We hope so. We've been practicing a lot to turn around this, and hopefully we're gonna make it. Let's see what's gonna happen.
Cunninghams, you have the higher seed, but before we do the coin toss, do you have any words for a game over before we start?
No, just good job on Sunday, right, against Gaza. That was a solid match. So hope for not quite
you.
as good a performance tonight.
Game over, currently the leader of South America when it comes to World of Tanks after the Battle of South America. Any words for the Cunninghams before we start?
There you go. Good luck, man. Let's have a good match and show what we can do.
Yeah.
All right, Cunninghams, heads or tails on the coin flip?
Heads.
Heads is the call, and heads is the flip. Map choice or defer, Cunningham?
Defer.
Deferral. Game over, what is your map
Himmelsdorf.
choice? Himmelsdorf is the first map choice. Cunninghams, north or south on Himmelsdorf?
North.
North side for Cunninghams on Himmelsdorf. Game over on the south. Gentlemen, best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, and as they get ready for match number one, battle number one on Himmelsdorf, talk a little bit more about the betting system, guys. Once that coin was flipped for the face-off, the betting has opened. The top performer in betting will take home a Type 59 Chinese tank. This tank is no longer available in the garage, so this is one of your chances to get this tank. It is famous, and all you have to do is follow the syntax of the chat mod. And when you do, you'll place a bet. If you lose all your points, don't worry. Your balance will reset to 10 points. You can always bet with 10 points. The winner will take home that tank. But if we do have a tie for the winner, we'll have to see what we did, because we had a tie for this season 3, week 2, end of the week giveaway. We had a couple winners, 2 of them. They both got tanks. Congratulations to those guys. We keep the bets going. Betting is only open for 3 minutes after that coin toss. Himmelsdorf, map number 1. We see this map chosen lots of times, Rookhill. Your predictions on where these teams are going to go?
Something I've been seeing a lot lately in the south is teams are going towards the diagonal road, grouping up in just about, 1 and a little bit more grid squares. And after that, we're seeing a lot of pushes up the 8 line recently. I really am not understanding why teams exactly are going for that, but it is a strong move. It's very bold sometimes. However, it is rather weak if your opponent decides to go tank alley and takes up defensive positions because of the crossfire potential that you have on one position. Now, it's a good strat, though. I really like these 8-line pushes. They're aggressive. They set the tempo. They give you a lot more time in your match to deal with an opponent if they don't go to the southeast, if they go off to the train station, the window, or make a push down the tracks. Of course, game over. A big fan of going to the west, down the tracks, and towards the cap point. So that's definitely an expectation out of game over if they're ever in the north. In the south, though, for game over, not. I can't really think of what they do. Even I think they may just go to the west and not go towards cap. But of course, if you push down the 2-3 line clutch, your cap pressure is so much less potent, isn't it?
It is, and this comes down, again, we bring this up many times, the positioning of the T1 Cunninghams. A simple T1 on the hill can see if there's a heavy tank up on that section of the map, meaning there's no firepower that tank can hit unless it's in the central area looking down against the D line, the G line, or the courtyard. That means that it can be a 4 and 5 overmatch, and a lot of teams will push once they have that information. However, a lot of T1 battles happen, and the T1s will duke it out for a while, knowing that if they're able to kill that eyes and ears of the team, they will have control of that section of the map, and they can gather that more information. Unfortunately, what I've been seeing from some teams is once they win that battle, they don't push forward. They stay back, because if it's only that T1 and there's no other tank coming to help it, that means you have control of that map. Push forward and get more information.
Possibly, but remember the risks. You still don't know exactly where your opponent is. You may have a T1 advantage, but that T1 advantage doesn't mean you're going to win in the brawl.
Exactly.
Especially if you started off at a bad pace.
And it does come down to the strategy of the team, right? If they're going to push on that section of the map, you want to see if there's a possible flank. You send in the T1, you scout that area, there's no tanks there, you know it's safe. You send in the T1, it dies, you see that there's an enemy there, you make another position around another flank that would take them longer to get to, and you push forward.
Or you just push right in following the T1 and make them waste a shot.
That's quite possible as well. That will work against those 5100s, but I see a lot of the T1s used very well for the scouting, but they feel separated from the rest of the team strategy sometimes.
Yeah. But T1 play is just so delicate.
It is, and it's still evolving. Let's see what these teams have evolved into in week number 3 of Season 3 for the Cunninghams versus Game Over.
Looking at the tanks, we see 2 5100s and 3 IS-3s for the side of the Cunninghams in the blue. In the red team, the Game Over will have 2 110s, 2 5100s, and a single IS-3. I like this. Game Over. I love the 110s. Great DPM on those tanks.
DPM is high. Its frontal armor has a better slope compared to the IS-3, some say. But it does not have the side-spaced armor that is amazing with the IS-3 for some shots.
Gigmaster could go down early on, as Silent Demise doesn't actually go for the shot. Gigmaster is driving straight across, and he's actually going to be able to start proxy spotting Silent Demise on the D-line. Bold move at the beginning out of Game Over, and they're actually going to cover this T1. They may get some damage on Silent if he's not careful.
Gigmaster will be within that 50 meters.
Enrique Dante's in the open as well. He's going to take a hit from Comps right at the beginning, down to 11:53. Doesn't look like anyone else from Game Over is going to play quite as bold. Enrique has to go take cover behind a fountain, and he's going to take another hit.
Big hit against Enrique. Another shot fired from the left. Not sure if that came out of Silent Demise or another tank. Hit the fountain, not for a connection. 823 out of 1550 for the 110. He fires back and is able to land a hit.
But now Comps has to back off because Rafa Beta and Irradior are pushing down the 8 line, looking for that tier 8, looking for Comps. Although Enrique Dante is down to 449. Bounce from Comps and bounces from the IS-3. But Trireme is on the way to help. He will be able to help his battle buddy out in the 5100.
Big shot from Silent Demise again, hitting the back of Enrique Dante. He's down to 156. Rafa Beta takes a shot on his side. 110's about to fall.
Oh, and from the flank, there's Commander J. He gets the finishing kill. And now there's actually a fight elsewhere on the map. I'm going to jump to that clutch.
The defensive spread is looking very, very, very well for the Cunninghams here, as Game Over did push up.
Gendorfer takes down Militant.
Really quickly. Enrique Dante's not going to move from the courtyard. Nip 100 under fire, taking some hits against Silent Demise. Silent Demise in the consistent fire IS-3 lines up for another shot against Nip, but he falls back. Enrique Dante is going to come in from behind. He's going to go for the flank shot, gets it for over 300 damage.
Yeah, but Silent Demise down to 310. Enrique Dante at 156 should be taken down by Comps, and yes, he will, but not before he takes down Silent Demise. Now it is 1 tier 8 versus 3. Not seeing this go very well. Cap is under attack. Gigmaster is spotted, though. Should go down very shortly.
Gandorfo heading to the north to back up the T1 that will be destroyed relatively shortly. Gigmaster trying to put any type of pressure, keep it in the fight, as they will fall here soon to the Cunninghams, excuse me. And up to the north, here comes the parade train. Commander J with the first shot. Gandorfo books it around the corner to see Commander J for a second. Can't tell if he's reloaded. He is, but he takes a big shot to the front as he returns fire against the IS-3. Minute and 13 left. The other T1 heading down to the south. Gandorfo will now be able to kill all these tanks in time and get down to the south section of the map.
Gandorfo even misses a shot onto Comps. Just hitting some wall. Next shot hits reverse angled armor. Comps is in a perfect reverse angled position. Now Gandorfo has wasted 3 shells, I believe. Commander J will be able to flank him very easily and take him down without a huge fight. This is well played by Cunninghams. Aggressive move by Game Over. I liked it, but the execution from that 110 going out in the open really late, I think it really hurt him.
Yeah, they shut down that one approach, and once you can do that, the rest of the flanks become weak in any type of firefight. Cunningham's taking battle number 1 on Himmelsdorf. Now, I do appreciate Game Over getting into the mix very quickly and crossing that threshold, that no man's land of the courtyard. But that 110 was pinned down so well by the IS-3s up in those windows. And I did not see any necessary return or any necessary return fire coming from the windows on the other side. It was more of a
They just didn't have
tank alley
positions for
set.
it. Yeah. They went for a cool split. It was going to flank that whole D-line position out of the Cunninghams. Unfortunately, the Cunninghams were too well prepared. They got nice damage off early, shutting down that 110. He couldn't continue pushing forward. It's with a health point lead like that, Clutch, what are you going to do? It's really hard to work with that when you lose that much hit points.
There's nothing, man. I mean, the 110s perform so well when they're leading a strike, but when they are caught on their own taking fire, that's the last place you want a 110.
It's just, it was a gamble. It was a real gamble to do that. You're hoping your opponent didn't come out to the windows there at the beginning to get those early shots. Maybe he was hoping they would go northwest, and with that, Game Over would have plenty of time to try and siege out the Cunninghams if they went to the northwest defensive position. I think that's the mentality out of Game Over. I think we've seen Cunninghams go to the northwest before, so maybe it wasn't that far out. Although I can't remember clearly the Cunninghams going out to the northwest. They seem more like an east side playing team to me, north or south. Yeah, Game Over though definitely is one of those teams that if they'd had the north side, we would have been able to predict without a doubt they'd go 1-2 line. They do that almost every time.
Battle number 2 is going to take place on steps.
Oh.
And again, this is a method we see long engagements because they'll have the south move to the west, the north to the east. Generally, but for what we see for the most, the east will hold that position for a while. The west will move around, maybe put some flag cap pressure, go all the way to the north. The east is so far segregated from almost the rest of the movable map that when you do have that position, that's great. It's great to hold down position, but your enemy's not going to approach you for a while unless they try to draw you out.
Yeah. Although we have seen recently a few teams trying to switch it up because the south portion of the map got a little bit of it was slightly adjusted. There's some more cover now for teams in the south to go to the east side of the map. Because of that, they can actually contest it now. At least I think so. A lot of other teams seem to agree, as the south team will actually go east now, and the north team has been trying to say, well, we don't want to actually make that fight happen because we're not confident we can win that, so we'll head to the northwest. And so we actually seen kind of a switch up. Instead of the south team going west, north team going east, we're seeing south team go east a few times and the north team go west.
Right in that little divot, but they have to get there quickly because if you don't fully commit to that area, along with any strategy on any map, you have to commit to a position before you even start moving your tank because if you don't, if you lollygag behind, easy target fire.
Yeah, especially because there's some nice scouting position for the east side on that approach. You can sit in 1390 right up the just about the middle of the field, right outside of your own spawn. It's on the ridge. Actually, I could show you guys. Let me just show you guys real quick. Yeah. Okay, so right here, actually, you can make it from the south or from the north. Doesn't matter. You can just go to a bush there, and there's a little bush on the north side and a little bush on the south. And you can use that to spot tanks as they cross in about this region very easily. And if you can do that, you can get great early damage out and maybe give yourself a nice advantage for later in the battle.
It's time for battle number 2 of match number 1. Game Over versus Cunninghams. Cunninghams is up 1-0. Can they close out the series? Or is this Game Over? Have some tricks up their sleeve on steps. Let's find out.
Nothing too tricky here, Clutch. We got a Pershing, an STA-1, 3 1390s for the side of Cunninghams. For Game Over in the red, 2 Pershings and 3 1390s. A little interesting to see the STA. It has great damage output, but the Pershing is just a more flexible tank for the most part. We're going to see Militant, I guess, take some hits, though, to his turret. Not a lot of armor.
Pershing is flexible. It also uses the APCR rounds. Better performing, in my opinion, compared to the STA-1.
Yeah, those heat shells don't pen for a lot.
No, it's tough, especially at longer range.
Well, at longer range, they don't lose pen.
They don't lose pen, but feels like they do. I know
Well,
they don't.
it's harder to aim for those spots you really need to hit, because you can hit
Exactly.
the tracks, you can easier hit, some tanks have spaced armor in weird areas like IS-3s, but it's the tracks. Sometimes you'll just hit tracks, and even on a 1390, your shot will just vanish and fizzle.
Yeah, that's just
In the opening, Gigmaster is spotted. Shots come out from Militant, but that's a rock, Militant. That is not... You can't pen that cover.
It looks like a tank. The rock looked like a tank, sir.
Oh, well, then that's fine.
Was it moving? No.
Carry on. But
That's fine.
Countess from
Big
the
shot.
northeast.
Takes
C7.
down Gigmaster. Big shot up against that rock. Gigmaster is well hidden, but not well hidden enough. Nice shot.
Just great scouting here and great positioning by the Cunninghams. Really spread at the beginning, but they did have the 1390 out on one of the flanks in a safe, I'd say safe, a safe scout run. He's cut off from the rest of his team, but he can very easily escape from any aggression from Game Over. And as you can see, Game Over isn't playing all that aggressively. Little bit of movement out here, but nothing rash. So there's no chance for Countess to get caught out. Countess is very safe to continue scouting around. However, I do see two mediums in the east. If Countess gets too aggressive, he could be walking into some kind of trap.
I like that the Cunninghams did not go for the assumed position of the east.
Rafa
And
Beta
because of
spotted.
that, they were able to get that earlier scouting and position. Countess is spotted from Rafa Beta. Rafa Beta shot with the Pershing, but it shot right into the ground in front of him.
Take that, Dirt. But Countess is very, very grateful to the Dirt
Yes.
for taking that shell for
Thank
him.
you so much.
Yes, very polite. But he didn't spot the other tank there, which
No, Mega Monero.
I don't think Countess will risk 1v1ing, or at least attempting to 1v1 a Pershing.
No, there's no
It would
reason
turn out
to.
well if he could catch him off out there, but the chances are, I mean, look at that position. He's very safe. He's got cover from the east. And actually, with this, it looks like the Cunninghams are going to be moving back to the east. Commander J took a hit at some point, and he's down to 888. Maybe some blind fire from the southwest. And with that, Cunninghams have given up their western position. They're heading to the east now. Going to try and maybe overmatch on those Pershings they saw. And I think they're in for a surprise, because I see members of Game Over
Well,
also heading to the east.
If there was a time to do it, it was before this time, because that's Nip 100 and Enrique Dante from Game Over heading up from the south to the north on the east side. And they do see the STA and the Pershing. And they see the 1390 Triarm and Commander J. Nice flank fire coming out of Nip 100 against this push on the side of the Pershings.
Oh, Countess taking some hits on the way in.
Mega Monero being focus fired, and he falls. Still an overmatch here as they lose one of the tier 8s. 1390 still plugging away, but they're trading HP shots here. They're going for the Pershing who popped up, while Connus in the 1390 went down and it's a really good HP sharing on the side of Cunningham's. Game Over. It's a tough call to make. Do you save your shot for the tank you were firing before, or do you fire at the tank that feels safe in the back, but actually is not? Countess takes a hit from behind. Shot fire from Commander J hits Nip 100, and Rafa Beta pushes in the Pershing and lands another hit.
And Commander J should be reloaded shortly, and with that, he's going to be able to engage on Rafa. We also have Comps Militant moving up, and I'm missing a 1390 from this. Enrique Dante nips here, but where's Gandorfo? Gandorfo's in the back, not quite in this fight yet, and I feel because of that, Game Over's going to lose this brawl.
Gandorfo did take a hit earlier on. Nip down to 97 HP. Commander J in the 1390 scene. He shot fire. Countess takes down Nip 100. Another shot from Gandorfo. 2 misses, or at least one of them was a bounce. Commander J is able to escape, and now Gandorfo switching his turn over to Countess. However, the Pershing that was focused on Countess falls to Trireme, and Gandorfo can't get the other shot. He may be getting out of this battle. Yep, he's going to leave the battle and try to evade all of the Cunninghams. It's not going to be the case, though. 5 minutes and 36 seconds left on the clock. They can go for the flag cap, no problem.
Yeah, very easily. Just a superior fight by the Cunninghams. It wasn't a lot Game Over could do. They didn't have the positioning. They took a lot of damage very easily. And the counterflank was really nice. Unfortunately, they couldn't get a kill out of it. If they'd been able to focus down and stop a tank cold, it would have been great. They could have gotten the momentum to come back. Unfortunately, the 1390s were too hard of a target and just didn't take the hits needed. Just
Gandorfo takes another big hit on the side, 429, 218. More shots being fired into him from far away, and the Cunninghams want the kill. They want to get those stats. And
There's a hit from
Gandorfo,
Militant.
he's still trying to get out of there. 182 long-range shots coming from the 1390s. Not the most accurate tanks. Gandorfo, the only one left alive now, is tanking Daka. Fell in the T1. Trireme still getting closer on the chase in the 1390. trying to cut the corner. He's going to see Gandorfo at a distance. Oh, he's not able to stop and fire as Gandorfo gets behind the rock. Gandorfo draws a line in the sand and tells Trireme to come towards him. Trireme on the run, stops and shoots, and they get the kill. Cunninghams are able to take the series 2-0. They're one battle away from winning it out. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We come back, further analysis of that last battle, and we'll jump into the final battle, potentially, or Game Over could have a comeback. Stay tuned. You're watching the Gold League for World of Tanks. Thank you for that, Rotterdam. It's Throwback Thursday, so we're airing some of our older segments. I say older, but it's from Season 2 or Season 1, and that was about the T1 Cunningham. One of the biggest questions teams and individuals have about the 7x42 format is what type of tanks do we bring? Well, you want to bring the most powerful that you can, your Tier 8s, but you can't bring 7 of them. You can only bring 5, so that's why you run out the other 2 with T1s, and you have them play as scouts and also fly cap pressure. Okay. Next battle is going to take place on Cliff, but detailing that last skirmish on Steps, I really liked that flank that Cunningham's brought against those 2 Pershings. They knew where those tanks were.
Commander J.
Didn't see the other tanks, though. And as Game Over was moving in, they were a little bit too far to the south to really stay in the firefight. They didn't have one of the 1390s Gandorfo. Yeah. And I felt that in that scenario, it's really tough because you need to focus fire tanks. You need to get that damage done against the tank so you can even out if there's an overmatch. Or once you lose a tank, there is an overmatch. That wasn't the case. The Pershings could fall back. They had the hold down position, and the other 1390s were behind that little hill.
Yeah, just it didn't work out. Cunninghams played it really well. They were in the right positions. They had great cover fire from the STA and from the Pershing, and it didn't go on long enough that the STA was able to get beaten out in that hold down at all. He was playing a smart game. He wasn't exposing himself for long at all, if at all at sometimes. I don't even think he may have. And the Pershing just did a great job of distracting the 2 Pershings from the Game Over team. Just better played by Cunninghams. We'll see if they can do that on Cliff.
Cliff will be battle number 3 between the Cunninghams and Game Over. Let's battle. What do we have for tanks, Rukil?
Looking at the T-69s. Wow. Game Over's going for 3 of them, and then 2 1390s on the other side. We're seeing the Cunninghams go with 2 T-69s and 3 1390s. Mobility going to the Cunninghams. That's a lot of very short duration burst for Game Over. They could easily kill one of those 1390s in no time.
Yeah, this is the trade-up. Do you go for the 4-drum, faster loading after the drums depleted T-69s, American-made, or you go for the French 1390 tank, a 6-shot drum? That burst damage at the beginning, I'd rather have 6 shots compared to 4, but then you get to the mid-game with maybe missed shots, et cetera, et cetera. So
but you also have the T-69s in 3 of them, and 3 of them together as a hit squad.
Yes.
Very quickly can take out a 1390 with minimal damage returned.
T1's firing into NIP 100, does a little damage, but Enrique Dante takes the shot.
And it looks like NIP 100 is spotted, but Guk does look for a shot, but is unable to find it. Still looking for it on NIP 100. And this is a cool strat. I like it from Game Over. They like to kill a T1 in the west side, where there's almost always a T1. And then with that, they like to put on more pressure and try and get that cap pressure going. Unfortunately, I think they put themselves in the low ground a lot. Now, they've got T-69s in hold-down position, but I feel like they're susceptible to a lot of just superior position firing. Just the high ground goes to Cunninghams right now. And we actually see them trying to counter out some of this. Militant 83 is looking to cover Commander J, while Baguk is looking to the south. He's going to take out tanks that get spotted on cap. Smart move by the Cunninghams, but they've also got a huge spread. Look at this. Comps at base. In this middle, Commander J. Countess is all the way at the enemy cap. Trireme is also looking to the south. Could see counter cap pressure. And there are T1s going down to Baguk, just destroying them. Unfortunately, Comps has gone down in reply. Not so good.
Nope. T1 trade out, still in the win for Game Over. One more tank left alive. Means more eyes and ears on the field. Rafa Beta and Mega Monero are in a stuck position. They're not pushing forward all the way. Rafa Beta took a shot to his turret earlier before. It was a bounce. He returns that fire a couple minutes later against Commander J, and Commander J takes a huge hit. 885 out of 1100.
He is being covered by a T-69, so I think he's trying to bait them in. I think he really wants Game Over to push. If Game Over does that, they put themselves in a dicey situation where they could lose T-69 very quickly. But I don't think they're quite going for it. Good shot on Commander J. Will damage his gun.
But Guk takes another hit. 3 hits. 4 hits on Baguk. Militant 83 fires into Rafa on the side. Baguk down to 172. Still return fire going into these T-69s and 1390s. Gandorfo takes a couple hits on his side, and he falls back. Mega Monero, bouncing shot of his T-69. And blue base still under attack from the red. And the T-1s have actually left the flag capture area to the south and are now going to the north for the Cunninghams, I believe.
Yeah, Countess may be the tank to come back. I'm not sure. He's got a straight shot up the 2 line, but he's not going for it. Maybe Trireme. Trireme will be going to stop the cap, but he has to run a gauntlet. Nip 100 and Henrique Dante are there, but Trireme looks like he will be able to stop the cap as he does come up the hill. Looks for Robal, stops, and fires. Yes, he gets the kill, but he's taking damage from Nip 100.
Very smart play coming out of Trireme. Focus on the T1, the easiest to kill, and also maybe with the most capture points as Nip 100 leaves the capture area at almost full health. Only shots he took were from a T1 earlier.
Rafa Beta puts shots into Militant. Militant trading in Foxtrot 2. Countess is going to have to run. Cunninghams are really split up, though. And actually now I see Commander J going for the cap, but I think he's spotted maybe by Gandorfo. No, Gandorfo is trading out with Militant 83. Great distraction by Militant 83 to keep Commander J from being spotted and taken alive.
Commander J able to escape the sight of Gandorfo to the south. And these 3 T-69s in the center, that hit squad, like you said.
But now in the north,
doing well.
Trireme taking hits will go down to Nip and Henrique Dante.
That's going to be a big overmatch win. Now 5 Tier 8s versus 3. Militant, Commander J, and Countess. Militant at 870 has a lot of HP in the back. So does Countess, but not enough, I feel, to compete against these other tanks, especially with the surround moving in against Militant 83. He takes another hit, another one, and he falls. 2 against 5. As the hit squad continues to try to look for any more tanks to pick off. 2 remain, both 1390s for game over. To not be 3-0'd here. Showing some fight against the Cunninghams on Cliff.
Yeah, Cunningham's played a really spread out game. It was very strange. Game over had this low ground strat, and it's working out for them, I think, just because the Cunninghams didn't play they didn't play to it very well. They didn't counter it out. They were playing a different game. They were playing their own game, their own strategy. And they didn't look to counter out game over. They made some mistakes, I think, in not being together, not having a complete unit, where game over had tanks together in groups. Some of them are alone now, but it's they're all covering each other. Commander J's not going to be able to deal that much damage. He's not going to be able to kill Mega Monero. Cap, 30 seconds left.
Countess takes a big hit. Mega Monero tries to line up another shot. Will he get it? He is Commander J has reappeared while the other tank disappeared that was taking the fire. 20 seconds left now on the flag cap. Nothing from the Cunninghams can reach that in time. Now only 1 tank left alive. Countess, as Mega Monero fell, or destroyed Commander J, rather, his T-69. 5 seconds left on the cap. And this is going to be a win for game over.
Yeah, well played. They could come back, and this one looked pretty good.
Impressive play on Cliff. They went for the Western approach with one of the 1390s. They had Nip 100 go all the way to the top. And I actually really like the fly cap pressure because the hit squad in the center and the fly cap pressure spread the Cunninghams. They're spread too thin.
Yeah, and one big mistake, I think, was Baguk getting caught out. The tanks that were in that center position actually got fire onto Baguk, who was the tank covering the cap. He went too far out in the open, and he took a lot of damage, had to abandon his position. Those 1390 also able to fire on him from the low ground. Just Baguk not being in a stronger position, I think, really hurt the Cunninghams that time. He was the defense on cap. Because he lost his position, he was unable to defend cap and stop the T1s. You had a 1390 having to go down into the low ground where he had to stop that and take unnecessary damage. Well, it was necessary to stop cap, but it was otherwise unnecessary because he wasn't beginning an engagement. Cunninghams were not able to progress their position. I felt they were forced to react the whole time. Game Over did that very well in setting the tempo, making Cunninghams react to them.
Take a quick commercial break. We come back. The series continues. Game Over is still fighting back against the Cunninghams. Cunninghams are up 2-1. Stay tuned. The Gold League continues after this. Welcome back to the Gold League for World of Tanks. The next battle is going to take place on Mines, my favorite map. Game Over showed that they had some teeth already ready to fight against the Cunninghams. The Cunninghams got spread too thin, took some damage on the outset, and continually just got pinpointed by the T-69s. Those 1390s taking a lot of damage there.
Yeah, just when you actually take your position, you try to progress it, you get those just happenstance things. I think Bagak were taking a lot of damage early on, really helped Game Over. It gave them the advantage to make things happen, and they did. Very good job. Let's see if they can make that happen here on Mines. However, we all know the meta right now on Mines.
This is the fastest firefight of all the maps,
Yeah.
which is, and it wasn't my favorite because of that. It's turned into that, which is great. But the firefights have been so crazy in the center of this map, and also some of the strategies teams have been bringing to get out of that firefight, or even to bypass it by cruising straight across. Like
Quite
Top Tier
literally,
did.
to bypass it.
Yeah. Let's take a look at what these teams are going to bring on Mines in battle number 4. Team Cunninghams versus Team Game Over.
All right, someone might recognize this lineup from Game Over. This is the same lineup, I believe, almost the same lineup that we saw them bring against Cazadores. Big, heavy lineup for Mines. On the other side, Cunninghams have brought also a fairly heavy. They got Trireme in a 5100, Millard, Militant, and T69s, Countess, and Commander J in 1390s. Hill control will certainly go to the Cunninghams early on. However, Game Over could try and just book it up there as well. A little slower, but with so much more health, they could bully them out of that position.
Game Over is sending their 5100s over to the west, to the island at first. They're actually hanging back in a defensive play. This is just like they had it against the Cazadores. Cazadores went water side, and they couldn't push up into the back corner of Game Over because of those 5100s for the longest time. Rafa Beta and the Pershing is going to be the front of the charge, and Countess along with Commander J. The two Cunninghams have taken the hill.
Yeah. And with that, Commander J will be proxy spotting the entrance to the hill. And actually, I want to take a look at the positions out of Militant and Millard. Very strange position there. I think this might be a bit of a trap in the works, looking for a stronger crossfire onto the entrance of the hill with the 5100, with the TT69s. Interesting play. We'll see if it works out, because there's a rock that was added to this position that was not there some time ago. The rock I'm looking at right now. This rock is new. That is a new fancy rock. We'll see if it works out. It does add a defensive position for Militant and Millard from fire coming from maybe the corner of the rock where tanks go to die, which is, of course,
Can you imagine what the map
This
would be
rock.
like if the rocks were destructible?
that would be beautiful.
Fire into multiple times, they started to crack.
Well, this rock is cracked, so I think someone might have hit it with something.
The dance back and forth between the T-32 of Enrique Dante and Rafa Beta and the Pershing. Nothing spotted for them to see or shoot at, except for Countess in the 1390. He is seen just around the corner, and they're pointing their turrets that way.
Well, A. Martin was spotted earlier, taken out by a 5100 in the, I think in the southeast. And now Baguk is actually still in Echo 1. With that knowledge, I think Game Over knows that they have east side control with their T1. They could push him up, try and sneak him into the backfield. And Gigmaster is spotted again. Baguk may be able to get some fire onto him, but doesn't get it. No. And now the Cunninghams are actually going to move east. Look at that. T-69s have left the hill. And Trireme is also going to join the two T-69s as they push around to the east. Maybe an interesting flank. However, I think they might be walking into a 5100 gun.
That's quite possible.
There's a
That's
5100 in...
he's a little bit farther south, though, but Robot on the T1. He's
Oh.
got some big shot into Milton 83. It looks like it came from the hillside. Another one.
It was Nip. And return
Yeah,
fire
it was
from
Nip.
Millard.
It was Nip.
Does not connect. Millard able to scare him off. Militant also looks for a shot, but Nip is smartly backing off. He gets his free damage, and that's it. Now there's a push onto the hill.
And here comes the push. Rafa Beta leading the charge in the Pershing. Enrique Dante looking to the left. Shot fired on the move from the Pershing against Countess. It's a miss. But now they see Commander J, and they're going to go for the surround. Wow, Cunningham's being picked apart again.
But this could work
Can
against
he get out of
them.
there? Can he get out of there? Big shots to the 5100, and Commander J down to 23 HP. Moves to the north, but here comes the Cunninghams from behind. And the T-69s focusing fire on the Pershing as the 5100 is right behind him, and that's going to be a huge powerhouse of damage against these tanks.
Now remember, Countess stayed on the hill, and because of that, he gets a shot into Rafa Beta, finishes him off. Now there's a 4v Henrique Dante on the hill, but backup is on the way. Will it be able to save them? Gandorfo has come to the hill, and now he unloads into Millard.
Millard taking 2 shots. Will he get a third? No, it misses against Gandorfo. Enrique Dante at 80, and he falls. Millard is still going to stay in that section. And now getting behind, getting behind the rock against Gandorfo and the T-69, NIP 100. in his 5100, moves up closer. Mega Monero still stays way back in the 5100 for covering fire, as the T1s are on both sides of the map themselves to go for the flag cap if it comes down to that.
It's they could salvage this. Oh, Gandorfo goes up for hits. Now Nip is actually going to join the fight. He misses his first shot.
Nip pushes forward, and he shoots again. That one looks like it was another miss, another shot into the T69. But on the other side, it's Countess. Nip is getting demolished right here, but he's trying to unload all 6 shots before he falls. So he does fall to Countess. Gandorfo 156 up against 3 autoloaders here, along with a T32 on the hill.
Yeah, it's not too good. Not too good for game over. They got split up, and it looked like they could bring it back, but they held their 5100s, and I think that was the mistake. The crucial mistake was keeping them in the south when there was that push onto the hill. That mistake just, I think that's where they lost it.
Because they're not going to come down and follow if they fall back, and Mega Monero in his position would have been highly effective if that was the case, but he's still sniping from that 5100 way south, and he is getting a couple hits against Trireme. Trireme couldn't tell if he was focusing on Mega Monero or
He was looking for Gandorfo, and Gandorfo's just got a great position hidden behind the wreck of a 1390. With that, he's able to make it so Trireme has to spend a lot more time aiming. He has to go for those crucial spots on the turret where he can pen. The thing is, oh wow, and the T1 kill by Countess. The thing is, he has to really zero those shots, and because of that, he actually kept Trireme sitting out in the open long enough for Mega Monero to get a nice hit in.
There's Gigmaster in the T1 cruising up on the outside of the lighthouse. Getting closer to the north. He's going to get scouted, though, because one of the tanks from the Cunninghams is in a defensive position on that flag cap.
He is approaching, though, from a blind spot. So if he can get the jump on Beguk just in any way, he could actually get the kill. It's possible. Although Cunninghams, I think, there's a spot. Gigmaster is spotted from Countess.
And Gandorfo. Oh!
Beguk gets it.
Gigmaster falls. Jumping over to Gandorfo from the T69, still at the bottom of the hill. Cunninghams close to closing out the series in a 3-1, but they have 2 more tanks to defeat. One, a 51er that's hardly taking any damage, and the other, a T69 with 1 shot left before he falls.
Yeah, Millard is a high roll for a T69, a low roll for a 5100. Millard's effectively a 1-shot. Countess, also a 1-shot. And then you have Militant, who is now proxy spotted, a 1-shot, 189 hit points. So it is a delicate situation for the Cunninghams. If they walk into this wrong, if they get caught out with the wrong angles, they could very easily go down. Gandorfo now is going to look for Millard, and it looks like Militant has found Mega Monero. Big hits. He's down to 437. Millard, though, looks, and he finds Gandorfo, though. These connections are important.
Oh,
he misses
shot and a miss. And no, another miss coming out of the remaining T69 from game over. Only 1 take remains for the Cunninghams to destroy for the win. And that is Mega Monero on the 5100. Still trying to line up a shot against Miller in that T69.
He's not going to find it too late.
Nope, and from behind him, here comes some tanks from the Cunninghams for the flank fire and the kill.
Yeah, there's Countess looking right at the back. Beautiful shots. Easy peasy. Right on.
1 and 2, and that's it. Cunninghams win the series over game over 3-1. The last match happening on Mines, not the type of engagement that we've seen normally in Season 3. It actually turned into a longer range engagement. And as you said, Rukil, not bringing in the 5100s when they pushed up the hill, you got to have that damage output.
Yeah, and they were completely cut off from the fight. Without them there, they were effectively useless. They weren't really doing a whole lot. They were a great defensive position. I think Game Over could have stayed defensive if they wanted to. But the thing is, they would have taken it to a draw, giving Cunninghams even more of a chance to just win by the fact that they were up 2-1. And, of course, you don't want to play slowly. But with their lineup and strategy, it really looked like a slow play. And, of course, we don't like the slow plays. You're easily taken down. It's great defensively on Mines. Mines South is easy to defend, but I don't think it's going to work against Cunninghams. Cunninghams is just going to probably tear them apart bit by bit over a matter of time. But 10 minutes, maybe you can make a draw. I don't know. Nah.
Let's take a break. We come back. Match number 2. Simp versus the Cazadores will be underway. Stay tuned. You're watching the Gold League for World of Tanks.